They said we'll last forever, and forever is all that I need. Please stay here with me. Be curious how close that is to like on pitch. You're not amused like at all.
At all.
We used to be kids. Now we're not. Something happened in between. This is the Broken Youth Club.
I'm not going to start talking until your glasses are back on your face. It's very distracting for me.
All right. They're just going to be smudgy.
Okay.
I'll show. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You're fucking killing me. Do you not have a t-shirt on? Oh my god.
No, it's just the sweatshirt.
Okay.
That's good. That'll be good. There we go.
What a time.
Yeah.
How you doing over there?
I'm cold.
Me too.
I wish you would have let me bring the space heater in here.
I looked at that little space heater when we were walking over here because it says, you know, what the heat is currently in the space it's blowing in. 57.
Cool.
Cold.
Where did you get those?
Costco.
Can we return them?
Why?
I don't think they're very good.
What?
Do you think they're working?
Dude, that back bedroom feels so good.
Well, yeah, when you close the door. I
feel like that door's been open. I think they're doing a really good job, actually.
Okay.
So, no. Yeah,
I just feel like they don't get up to temp. I feel like they're always just below where we set them.
I don't know. I think I disagree.
Okay. That's okay.
Also, no. We cannot return them.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't
Well,
want
we
to.
got like 4 or 5 of them, right?
Well, one, they were on sale, but also
Yeah.
it's fucking cold.
Yeah, we needed the help.
Yeah. So the house has baseboard heat downstairs. And I feel like my dad like put that thought in my head at one point that like baseboard heaters were really like dangerous to use. Like
I've always heard that too.
I'm just afraid they're going to catch the house on fire.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they are like insanely expensive to run.
Not very efficient. Yeah.
And not very efficient. So I have them like just shut off at the breaker, but it got down to like, you know, -20 the other day.
Yeah, we're battling a cold snap, which a lot of the country is.
Yeah, well, ours ends like tomorrow. It's like not going to be in the negatives anymore. So thankful for that.
Aren't we expecting another cold front coming?
I don't feel like I saw one on the 10-day forecast because I was looking because of like us being in Indiana. I was like, well, what's the weather going to look like? And it's still going to be like cold, but not as cold as it is currently. But my big concern with leaving is last year on Christmas Eve of 2022, the rental house that we were living in had a pipe burst downstairs and like flooded the fucking basement. Like that house was like, what did we find out? It was like 2,400 square feet, but it's like equal, 12 up top, 12 in the bottom. The entire basement, inches of water, because it basically burst in the middle of the night. And then we didn't wake up until like 7:30, flooded the whole and it like still, I mean, the fucking ceiling fell in, like it was nuts. But it wasn't super cold Christmas Eve. It was super cold the week before that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whenever the pipes fucking thawed or whatever the hell, that's when the pipe burst. And so I was super nervous about the Indiana trip right after this cold weather because we weren't going to have anyone stay at the house. We were going to take the dogs somewhere. And I'm like, dude, what if we come back home and the whole fucking basement's flooded? Like, that would be an absolute nightmare. It would be, obviously we have homeowners insurance, but like, what a nightmare. I mean, when we lived in the rental house, we moved out of that in March and it was still under construction. Like, it took forever to get it done because there were so many people that had pipes burst.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to avoid it. So unfortunately, we do have to cancel the Indiana trip. We're just going to push it to like the spring when it's a little bit easier to travel.
Yeah.
we don't have to worry as much about it. But we are still doing like a staycation. You're still going to take the time off work.
Yeah, I still need some time to
decompress.
Check out for a second.
Yeah, which is great because it lines up with a trip that Dan and Lindsay were already taking. So it just is like good timing also to be gone.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited because I want to get some house projects done. I want to paint. I want to like check off some stuff that we've just been talking about. I mean, we are almost at the 1 year mark of living here. And we've done some stuff, but not as much as I would have hoped.
Yeah.
Especially when it just comes to painting. Like, I just want to paint the house.
I know. Well, we just did this, theater room out here. We painted all that.
I know, but we didn't even finish it. Like, I still need to paint the trim around the windows.
Oh, yeah.
That needed sanded. And we like stopped right there because we weren't sure how far out we were going to take it.
Yeah.
So like that part isn't done.
We started looking at some tile this weekend for the entryway.
Oh my God, which tile's so expensive. I want to throw up. It's like not even a crazy
one guy
large
didn't
space.
seem to want our business anyway, which I hate that. By the way, I'm never one of those people of like, I don't go into a place actively be like, do you want my money? I'm not that kind of person, but when people kind of blatantly in your face kind of act, just kind of get out of here. You're not, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I will get out of here.
Well, and sometimes I feel like because we like dress the way that we do, we were
dismissive a lot, I think is the term.
Yeah. It just feels like people just like assume that because I'm wearing a very old sweater that has a hole in it, that I like can't afford anything. And so like,
literally would like the first thing we were asked, we were like, we're looking for a very specific type of tile. And he's like, well, the only thing we would really have is like this one here, but like that is expensive. So,
but like didn't even tell us how expensive it was.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so do you gonna like quote me on that? Or he was very dismissive. Every question we asked, it's like, okay, well, what can you point us to? And he's like, well, you just want to look at anything over here, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna leave.
Yeah. We were in the store for like legitimately probably 20 minutes already, and nobody had come to like ask us if we needed any help, which I don't like love when a salesperson bombards you right when you walk in, but like if I'm clearly looking and there's no one else in here.
Well, it's a specialty store too. It's not like you're just browsing in Lowe's.
No, yeah, it's like you have to order it. They don't have anything in stock.
Yeah, like so they had it's actually an interesting setup. Well, you walk in and there's like a kind of a front desk with a concierge lady.
Yeah.
And then point you in the right way.
And then all of these salespeople. And there was one guy that was sitting at his desk that was a sales guy, didn't have anybody with him. So we go over and we're looking at the tile, and we've never been to this store, so I don't know what the fucking deal is. So I finally just walk over to the concierge person. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to figure out like some pricing on a couple of these things. And she was like, she's reading a book. So she looks up at me annoyed as if I have like disturbed her during her time of rest and relaxation. And I'm like, and she was like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to talk to a salesperson. And I was like,
okay, you want to hook that up for me, or
which side of the where are they?
Yeah.
And then he like hears that and he's like, just bring me what you want and I'll let you know what the price is, which I also didn't know was the thing. So then I had to go and like
slide the board out
of the fucking holder and carry it over there.
Yeah.
And then he still didn't give me a fucking price on what that stuff was.
No, the stuff we were interested was either like it would take like a few weeks to get, or it was just too expensive. And I was almost want to be like, why are you fucking carrying it then, man?
Yeah.
Who are you selling this to?
Like it was such an off-putting experience.
Yeah.
That like, I just won't ever go in that store again, which it sucks because we actually will eventually redo all of the flooring upstairs, which is a couple thousand square feet, which I would assume is like a decent enough amount that somebody would like want to help us with that. But fuck me.
I remember we got that a lot more when we were younger.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when we first went to get our first few cars, like, especially like when we were looking at that Jeep lot.
Dude, I remember that. It was one of the car lots in our hometown. And we go and we want to test drive this Jeep Wrangler. And the sales guy was a dude that had been like a substitute teacher forever. Mm-hmm. Like, definitely knew us, recognized us. We knew him. And he was like, this is really expensive. Like, didn't act like he really wanted us to test drive it.
Yeah.
And then we finally did test drive it, but he like rode with us, which I don't know. I think that maybe some car lots are just different than others, but I feel like the majority of them now that I go to, they don't ride with us.
Yeah.
They're just like,
it was just like when you run into a salesman where they're like actively trying to get you not to buy something.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's almost like, yeah, you just makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I want to buy this, but now I'm not going to do it from you.
Well, and like, I'm not stupid. Like, if I'm going into a fucking flooring company and asking for tile, I probably have looked and know how expensive it can be.
Yeah.
Which is why we are considering like installing it ourselves to try to help with the cost of it. But like, we know what to expect. So like, don't insult me by like literally not even telling me how much it is. That's
and I'm
annoying.
sure, like, I don't know. I'm not in sales like that. I mean, for a reason, but I'm sure profiling people to an extent is beneficial in some ways of like that person 9 out of 10 times is going to waste my time, you know, but
I don't know. But then you think
at the same
about
time, like it's fucking rude.
But then you think about guys like Adam fucking Sandler, and it's like Adam Sandler could walk into any store and buy anything that he wants. Yeah. But if you didn't know he was Adam Sandler and he walked into a store with a baggy, often a little dirty t-shirt and some basketball shorts, you might think he's going to waste your time.
Can we just say, right, we didn't look dirty. Like, we're not a dirty looking people.
Well, no, but I was probably wearing something similar to this.
Just a sweatshirt?
Yeah. And
what's wrong with a sweatshirt? I don't get that, though. What's
on.
wrong with a fucking sweatshirt? You know?
I don't know. A lot of people in Coeur d'Alene are like very fancy and wear very fancy stuff. And we still dress sometimes like we're in high school.
I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I wouldn't call this like a basic ass sweatshirt. This has like fucking flowers embroidered into the sleeve. Like, I don't think I don't
know. I think we had like,
and even if we did, like, why is that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It just makes me mad.
I know. Yeah. Especially when it's like,
it's a dumb thing to complain about for sure. I recognize that, but it was just like,
well, no, it's just insulting. It's like, we have worked really hard and tried to save money specifically for something. So whether it's expensive or not, can you fucking help us? Because we've worked really hard to have the money saved to put flooring in.
Yeah.
Like, it is insulting when somebody's like, you look like you can't afford to be here. Like, well, fuck me then.
Yeah. Don't worry. I won't waste your time.
Also, to be fair, I did go over to Idaho to try to buy it because their sales tax is a lot cheaper. I was trying to save a little money there, but
I've definitely shipped stuff to Idaho a couple times and just picked it up from there.
Fuck yeah.
Because it saved me a few $100s or whatever.
Yeah. It's a big difference between 6 and 9%.
And when I bought the computer, yeah.
Yeah.
That was an Idaho shipment there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that happened. When was that? Like,
just a couple nights ago. I think it was Friday after work.
Yeah, it was Friday after work. That's right. And then we also, another thing that kind of put a pause on the trip, or I mean, it wasn't like a huge factor, I guess, but it was just like, it was a factor. But for the last like month or so, I've noticed that I've been getting this like weird chest pain. And it started, I would just get it at night. Typically when I would like lay down, and it was just this like, it felt like bruised. It didn't feel like a sharp pain, but it almost literally felt like if I pushed, I felt bruisey almost.
Yeah. Tender.
Yeah. And the first few nights that it happened, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I probably ate something weird or whatever, had like a fizzy drink before I laid down. But then it started happening during the day. And then I started having these like moments where it felt like my heart rate was like spiking for no reason at all. I'd be driving you to work, or I'd be driving to pick you up. Those were the moments when it really bothered me. I would have the kids with me in the car, and I would feel my heart rate start to like race a bit. And then I would almost feel like tingly, like in my arms. And it started to freak me out a little bit. And so then I started wearing my Apple Watch so I could like track it. And definitely like when I felt like my heart rate was up, it definitely was. And like the other day I was driving to get you. And like my resting heart rate before I left was like 68. And then I started to feel it pick up in the car, like when I was probably like 15 minutes away from you. And I checked it on my watch and my heart was like 98 or something. And then like by the time I pulled into the office, it was 137. And I'm like sitting in the fucking car. We're not jamming out. We're not like, I'm frantically just trying to like take deep breaths and like try to lower it. But it felt like it just was happening out of nowhere. And then I had like 3 nights in a row of like chest pain when I fell asleep and then still chest pain when I woke up. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I felt like I needed to go to the chiropractor, but I'm like, that feels strange. I don't know. And I woke up on Wednesday with the chest pain and a really bad headache. And then I'm trying to think if you were in the shower or what you were doing. But I got up and Ollie came over to me and I was like, Ollie, I think I'm going to throw up. And then I threw up. And then I went to the internet and it was like, oh, if you have chest pain and you're puking, that's like a red alert for a heart attack. You should go get medical attention immediately. So, which I had already been thinking like, dude, this might be bad enough for me to go to urgent care. And that says something. I don't like going to the doctor. I definitely don't like going to urgent care, or the fucking emergency room. And it feels like everyone is sick right now. So I really didn't even want to go into a place where I thought there could be a lot of sick people.
Yeah.
Feels like, I don't know. I was just nervous. But so I told you and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I need you to like not go into work right this second because I need to go to urgent care. We kept Ollie from school. And I had you drop me off. And when I got in there, they were like, hey, and there were like a handful of people in the waiting area. So I thought like, fuck, I'm gonna have to sit here.
Yeah.
But she asked what was wrong. And I said the chest pain. And she like, she's at the computer and she just immediately looked up at me and she was like, what kind of chest pain? And I told her, and then I was like, and then I threw up. And she was like, okay, stay right there. She walked over and talked to somebody at like a nurse's station, and then came back and she was like, we're gonna get you in right here. So like, then I'm kind of just like sweaty. Yeah. I'm like, why are you acting like you need to look at me right now? And so I get back there and someone comes in and asks me a bunch of questions. And then she's like, okay, well, we're going to do an EKG. It doesn't hurt, you don't have to worry about it, but we're going to do that. And then we're going to just kind of see what happens. So they do that. And then she comes back and she's like, okay, well, you're not having like an active heart attack. So that's good. She was like, I'm going to do a swab for flu and COVID to make sure you don't just have like, something that could be like hurting your lungs or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So she does that. We have to wait like 20 minutes for that to come back. Those come back negative.
No, before those come back negative though.
She had done some vitals. You had
done some vitals, but you had texted me and you're like, essentially like we're still in the waiting phase, but you had used the term blood clot. Yeah.
So they had done after we did the EKG, they took my vitals. The NP came in and was talking to me and she was like, I'm going to swab you for these 2 things. But my concern is essentially I told her whenever I would take a deep breath, I didn't have shortness of breath, but when I would take a deep breath in, I could mimic that bruised feeling at like the deepest part of my like inhale or whatever. She was like, we're going to do this because maybe it's an infection or whatever. And she's like, but that you saying that it hurts at the very top of your breath does make me worry about a blood clot. She's like, but I don't like sending people to the ER. I don't want to send you to the ER. Let's do this nasal swab and see if that comes back. And then we'll go from there. So I'm like, cool, you're going to swab me. I'm going to lay here for 20 minutes thinking about whether or not I have a blood clot. And I texted you. And at that point, I started to get like legitimately scared because I thought at first I was like, okay, cool. No heart attack. Great. Love that. But the fact that she even had like mentioned maybe needing to send me to the ER for a fucking blood clot, that sent me into like a not great mental place. So I'm laying there and I'm like just silently crying, waiting for her to come back in. And I texted my mom and I was like, I don't even know what I should be hopeful for. Like, do I hope that I have the fucking flu? Or because I don't feel sick.
Yeah.
There's nothing else about me that feels sick. Do I hope that I have the flu or do I hope that I don't have the flu? And then that means they're going to send me to the fucking ER. And then do I hope that I have a blood clot and they can fix it? Or like, Yeah. So I just was laying there and you had
texted me. And so then you'd said that and so everything was up in the air. And then, so I just wanted to call my mom because my mom is a nurse. She's an RN or NP.
Yeah.
And so as soon as she picked up, it's like that is when it hit me, when I was like, oh shit, I think I'm starting to get scared. And then it like hit me as like I was just like a little boy calling his mom. And I literally said like, I need you to like, I think everything's all right, but I need you to tell me everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And then I just walked her through it. But yeah, like I said, like, I'm starting to panic and I need you to calm me down.
Yeah.
Because I started to get real scared. Because I'm one of those people who, thankfully, I'm really good at going, for the most part, you know, day to day, week to week, just feeling like life is life. And, you know, yeah, it sucks and whatnot. But like the idea of, I'm going to be 100. You're going to be 100. Everybody's going to be 100. Everybody's going to live forever. Like, I feel like we're very good at tricking ourselves into just like that being like going to bed, waking up, then going to bed, then waking up. That becomes so normal to us that the moment that is like, hang on a sec.
Yeah.
That is so fucking scary when you realize the veil between, like, how thin it is between life and death.
Yeah.
And yeah, I progressively think about that shit more and more. I don't know. But when you're faced with a real scare, an actual hospital visit, fucking, and yeah, I know we've had other people in the group who've recently had bigger scares and longer actual stays. And man, sorry, I just
no. So then I finally get, you know, she comes back in and she's like, hey, those tests are negative. She's like, I really think that I need to send you to the ER. And I was like, and I did start crying in front of her at that point.
Yeah.
And she was like, I mean, I could try to just give you some, you know, I think she said like Zofran or something, or she's like, but I just really think you need to go to the ER. And I was like, cool. Okay. So she gives me the paperwork. They walk me out. And then I get in the car with you, and pretty sure I started crying at that point, but I'm trying to keep it together because like, I don't need to like start fucking sobbing right now. Like, because also my fucking chest still hurt. Like it had stopped hurting for a bit when I was in there. But when she came back in with the negative test results, she was like, is your chest hurting like at all right now? And I was like, well, yeah, a little bit. I was like,
what do you mean?
I was like, I mean, it stopped for a while, but it hurts a little right now, but I don't know if I'm just nervous about what you're going to tell me. And she was like, I just think you need to go to ER. So I'm like, cool. So we go, and thankfully it's like not far. It was like 5 minutes to get to the one that we went to. Feels like there's a lot of options for hospitals or ERs in our area. So yay, Spokane. But so we go, and Logan drops me off, and you know, we have the kids. We don't have anybody it's a work day. We don't have anybody that can watch the kids. So it's like, hey, you can drop me off, but this is the ER. Like the last time I had to go to the ER was after I gave birth to Simon, and I ended up getting some kind of like infection or something.
Well, they wouldn't let the kids in.
Yeah.
Because I called to ask if they had like, hey, do you have any like temporary daycare room or someone who can, like a room where someone can keep an eye on?
They were like,
no.
Like, no. So anyway, so I walk in and I give them the paperwork, and I'm like crying, but I'm not, I can talk. Right. So, but I give it to them, and they're like, okay, well, we want to do another EKG, or we want to have you come in this back room and do an EKG. And I said, well, they just did one at urgent care, and they're like, we're going to do one here too. So I'm like, okay. So I like walk back in this room, and this is before they even have me sit. And so then it's like when people give you immediate attention, you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are
you dragging your ass like normal?
Yeah. Just made me go sit down for an hour. Stop it.
Make me bored. Piss me off. That'll make me feel better.
So they take me back into the room, and they do another EKG, and they're like, okay, well, you're not having an active heart attack. I'm like, okay, great. And so then they sent me out to the waiting room. And I didn't sit out there for very long, maybe less than 10 minutes. But I texted my sister while I was there and was like, hey, I just feel like I should like let you know. And that was when I finally like said, because I don't even know if I told you that I was scared in the car, but I told her. I texted it and I was like, hey, I'm like scared. And she called me and immediately was like, okay, well, like you're in the best place that you could be and you're not having, like they did the EKG, you're okay. And she just immediately is like trying to distract me, you know, like whatever way she can. She's trying to like call me, distract me. What do you want? Like, let's talk about this thing or whatever. Or do you want me to call Laura? She has a friend of hers is a pediatric surgeon. She's like, do you want me to call her and like kind of talk to her? Because the big concern at this point was blood clot, or I'm on this medication that I've been on for a couple of months. And so it was like, is it the meds that's making this happen?
Yeah.
So she's like, I can call Laura. I can ask her about the meds. I can tell her what's going on. And so I sent my sister a text of like the symptoms that I was having. And then got off the phone with her so she could call. And then I got called back into the room and they like immediately put an IV in with like just fluids and
put you in a gown. Yeah.
They put me in a gown and then they put an IV in, or no, I'm sorry. They put me in a gown and then they had me give a urine sample and then they did the IV and they gave me some nausea medicine and the IV. And I asked if I could have headache medicine. But he was like, well, let me just turn the lights down a bit. And I was like, okay. I don't know why they didn't want to give me headache medicine, but whatever. Because at this point, my head was like throbbing. And then the guy came in and talked to me, the doctor, and he was like, he's like, I feel like I can pretty much rule out a blood clot, like, you know, all of your other symptoms and like your vitals and the way that this other stuff is looking. He was like, I'm going to do a chest x-ray. And then, you know, we'll go from there. And I was like, okay. So then they took me to do the chest x-ray. And the whole time I'm like in here, there's this part of me again. And I think it was kind of what I mentioned to my mom. It's like, I don't know what to hope for. Like, do I hope that they find something so that it's worth what this is going to fucking cost?
It better be fucking worth it.
Or do I hope that it's nothing and then feel like stupid that I've now like wasted the day and the stress and whatever. And so I went back in the room and then I think it was going to be like, you know, 20 or 30 minutes before they were going to have the x-ray results back. And so I called and talked to my sister. And then I talked to you for a bit and tried to look at it like, okay, well, if it's nothing, then I've got like a full fucking workup now. So, you know, we won't have to worry about that, I guess. And he comes back and he said that the chest x-ray looked good. They did blood work. He said all of that came back really great. And he was like, I would follow up with your doctor about the medication. He's like, but I mean, what you're experiencing isn't really like a side effect of that medication that I can find. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I think there is a chance that you're just like really dehydrated.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Mom too, because before this, your earlier symptoms were, we had thought pleurisy from a friend, and then my mom over the phone thought the same thing, which is like an inflammation of the lungs. Yeah,
like from like a viral infection or whatever.
Right. So, because you had recently had something. So that was still a consideration. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what ruled that out. I would assume the chest x-ray ruled it out.
Yeah, possibly.
But anyway, so yeah, he comes back and he's like, hey, I think all of it's like, I think you're okay. He said it'd be up to you if it is the meds, if it would be worth continuing to take them. But I really think that this is just like, you're just really dehydrated. Like you need to be thinking about getting enough water in. You need to make sure that whatever you're eating is like nourishing your body, all the things. And so then there was just this moment of like I felt embarrassed. I felt like I had like blown everything out of proportion or something, but like I know what I felt. I know what it felt like.
Oh yeah, no.
And so I think if I wouldn't have gone to urgent care and it would have continued, I think that I would have found myself there anyway. You know, eventually I would have made myself go because I'm not somebody that experiences a lot of like health issues like that. But
I think if you're someone who does that all the time, that's a conversation to be had where it's like, hey, let's stop.
like I haven't even been to the doctor since I had Simon, and Simon will be 3 in May. Like we're not good at it. It's like a thing we need to be focused more on. But like I've said in another episode, I'm typically one of those people where it's like, I don't even fucking want to know. Like, I don't want to know what's wrong with me. Just like fix it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm gonna let it get real bad before I show up for you to fix it. But yeah, I don't know. It just, I do feel better. So I'm assuming the fluids maybe just like hydrated me up, and then I'm trying to be more intentional with drinking water.
Yeah.
But like, I also think that just like the stress of, you know, like you kind of being on the verge of a breakdown in November, and kind of like the stress of not knowing what that was going to look like, and then moving out of that and into the holidays and kind of just feeling like really stressed about some stuff then. And then I got into a fight with my mom. And so it just felt like, I think it was just this mixture of like feeling really stressed and then just dehydrated.
Yeah.
But it felt like my body was trying to like really fuck me up for a minute there.
Yeah.
And then I also went to the chiropractor yesterday, and I haven't been to the chiropractor in over a year. And she was like, you're really tight. Like she said, it feels like you have just like compressed yourself. And then she said like one of my legs was like a half of an inch shorter than the other one because it was just so like up in my hip. She popped the hell out of my hip. You would have been so excited to hear it. It was disgusting.
I love a good pop.
Oh my God. It was so gross.
Which, by the way, I don't know if we've mentioned, it's relatively new, where it's like daily now, where we pop each other's backs.
It's multiple times a day for you.
Feels so good. I reset in like 10 or 15 minutes. You can do it again. But yeah, you just a good hug, then you almost Heimlich fist on the back of the spine, and then you just breathe in, and then on the exhale you just give a good like, oh, it feels so good.
I feel like there's going to be a chiropractor listening that's like, don't do that.
Stop.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No. You know what? I don't care. It feels so good.
You're going to keep doing it. It's fine.
Yeah. It'll happen anyway. That's the thing. Like, I remember my mom saying when I was younger, stop, you're going to do, whatever. I'm like, Mom, you don't know. Like, when I literally will reach for something out of the cabinet, like did you hear that? Did you hear that? All I had to do was twist my hand a little bit and my whole elbow popped. So it happens anyway. So I'm just, helping it along. I've already done my fingers just sitting here.
Yeah.
But
I love the way that Tyler reacts whenever is it Tyler that would just like, when you would pop in the office, just like recoiled?
No, it was someone else.
Different.
Someone else.
A different coworker.
Yeah, I had a nickname.
How could I?
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, so y'all, it's just been a week. It's been a week over here.
Yeah, and I'm really spacey because my fucking mouth is barking, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm over here doing math of like, I can't really take any more painkiller or fucking Tylenol or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm really fearing that it is because I got what is the shit that you just got me?
It's just antibiotics.
Yeah, I forget what it was called. But yeah, been taking that. So hopefully here in the next day or two, that'll subside. But I know it's time for me to go back in and get some more work done. I'm so fucking...
Logan, the last time Logan went into the dentist, they were like, well, I think we need to do like a couple root canals. And Logan was like... A
couple?
I'm trying to be sweet here for you. I'm not trying to air your shit. All right?
I don't care.
Logan's got about every fucking tooth needs something.
Yeah. I'm going to have... My whole mouth needs replaced, essentially.
It's just crazy in there.
Yeah. I have a fantastic looking facade.
Man, it feels like it is just like kind of like a every single time we try to record, we're getting interrupted.
There's been a couple times where I think I've been able to make a transition and not have to do that little thing you just heard, the mid-show thing.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, it's been like every week.
Well, it's hard because also, like, to Ollie's credit, the few times that Oliver has come down to interrupt, it is because there's like
just something,
a diaper needs changed, or somebody is like
Simon woke up
hysterically crying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we can't blame Ollie for it, but it is just like every time.
It's all right. I mean, like I said, excuse me, really burpy. I made the mistake of chugging one of the.
Yeah, you brought a carbonated drink, didn't ya? Yeah.
No, this one is flat because it's from last.
Yeah, no,
night.
I'm not looking at that.
No, it's from upstairs when I made two mistakes. You asked me real quick to make Simon PB&J, which I did, but I have to cut the crust off. Not gonna waste the crust.
Gotta eat it.
So now I've got bread in my teeth. I just talked about being on fire, which currently in the time that I said that to now, I'm doing a little bit better. So
subsided a little.
Maybe we could.
I feel like the antibiotics
show,
should start kicking in soon.
I do too. Yeah, because I'm like,
you're 2 days
almost
in.
2 days. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
And tomorrow you'll be hopefully better.
Yep.
But
hopefully. If not, that's what I was trying to say before recording. If not, within a few days, if it really hasn't, I want to get an appointment scheduled for, unfortunately, the staycation is probably the best time to do it.
Yeah.
And get some more extractions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
Sorry.
God. It just feels rude when like anything expensive happens after the holidays. It feels like the universe is supposed to just like let us fucking recoup for a second.
Yeah.
And instead, like right after the holidays, it was right before the holidays, we had the fucking shit going with the car that cost like $1,300 to fix it. And then it still is making the same noise.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Infuriating.
Yeah.
And then we have the holidays. And then right after that, my fucking heart decides that it wants to just like try to fucking punt out of the back of my fucking sternum. So it's like, we haven't gotten the bill for that, but I just don't even want to see it at this point. And then I canceled the flights, which obviously we don't get the money back for that because I don't know who the hell out here is paying for fucking refundable flights, but it typically adds like an extra $150 to $200 per fucking ticket. To do refundable. Like, that is absurd.
Yeah.
That's absurd. So instead we just have flight credits. But it just feels like I just need everybody to like stop it. Stop needing things from us. And we need to also stop needing things that require big bills.
I know. Speaking of smaller bills though, have we mentioned how much we've been liking Cracker Barrel lately?
Oh, y'all.
I can't remember if we said that last time or not, but
we are in our Cracker Barrel era right now. All 5 of us can go to Cracker Barrel and order food, and our ticket is less than $60, which you can't get that anywhere around here.
That's like a McDonald's order now.
And it's literally every time we go to McDonald's, it's at least $40. And I don't even order food. I don't even get food.
I feel like an old man when I go through the drive because I complain every time. When I was in high school, this was 99 cents and now it's like $4.80. Like, are you kidding me?
Logan, your Carl's Jr. order today was $16.
Easy.
And you were the only one that got anything.
I know.
$16?
That's a burger and jalapeno poppers.
Yeah, I know. I think the jalapeno poppers add a couple extra bucks there. But damn.
They're worth it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where did I go? Oh. I went to this really cute little bakery down the street in the valley. It's so cute. They have this giant like windmill out front, so it looks very like, reminds me of like the Dutch, like a little Dutch country bakery. Yeah. It's very cute,
like a Netherlands style. Yeah.
But I went because this morning I was like, man, I really want a scone, and so I went and did that, and I got a scone and a couple cinnamon rolls for you guys and a bag of like day old biscuits. And my total was like $35. And then it asked me if I wanted to tip. And hey, listen, I love to fucking tip if somebody is like providing like even if they're like making, listen, even if I go to a coffee shop and and they're going to make me a drink, I'm paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that it's going to ask for a tip. But if it does, and I'm at like a local coffee shop, I will put a tip on there because you're making it for me and giving it to me. These guys, like, they were just plucking things out of like, they were already made.
Yeah.
Like, you're just getting them out of the shelf and putting them in a bag and handing it to me. But it was like, it has like the standard, like, fucking 15, 18, 20% or other.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it was like an extra $4 that I had to tip on it.
I can do one of two things. We can either go down this road of like having the tipping conversation that I've had
there's part of me that just like doesn't want to, because I think
I can just say, listen, I've had this conversation a billion times about where I stand on like tipping culture, and I get like so rooted in like, we can go down this alley, we can go down this alley.
Yeah.
I have very strong opinions about tipping culture.
I'm just like so happy to provide, or I'm so happy to give a tip if I feel like I am getting like some kind of individual attention from you. Again, like a coffee that you're going to like make me and give to me, or obviously if we go somewhere and eat food or whatever. But it's also like, I also, like a lot of places, I just want you to tell me how much it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I'm going to go get a tattoo, tattoos are so expensive.
Yeah.
And then there's this expectation to tip on top of it. But like, dog, you set your prices. Can you just
Especially-
build in
sure.
the tip amount so that I don't have to question
We've already
on a $300 tattoo if I have to give you an extra almost $100? Like that sucks. I do, because I don't want, the last thing I ever want is to not
Yeah, I
tip
want it to
well
be
enough
made-
and then somebody be like, well, I don't ever want to fucking mess with her again. But it's like, I also just wish you would just tell me how much you want.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those institutions that you just kind of have to participate in. So like, yeah, me, it's like reluctantly a participant. So yes, I will tip, and we tip well. We always do. But there will be situations where I'm like, why? I hate having to have this mental list of like, okay, what industries am I supposed to tip in? What is the acceptable rate within this industry, rate range? And then some people, that is never even agreed upon, as far as like, some people say 20%. Some people are like, oh, how dare you? It's 30%,
Yeah.
Some people are like, well, I never really go more than 15. Or some people will say, well, if it's there's certain rules, and then it's like by dollar amount. And then you have these weird rules. And it's like, why have we... I feel like we're going down option one here.
I know. Yeah, let's not. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I just want you to tell me how much you want. And I'm not going to argue if you're worth
Yeah.
it or whatever. I can either afford you or I can't. But I hate that, like...
I don't like the burden.
Not
Overall,
knowing.
I don't like the fact that the burden seems to be both financially and socially
Yeah.
placed on the customer to support to have the guilt to
Here's
support
one.
the living wage of the people who are providing the work versus the employer.
Yeah.
And I always had a bitterness of like, I don't get tipped in the industry that I'm in because the work I do is like, I would argue like probably could get tipped. I would accept them. That'd be cool. But I don't. It's pretty standard that you don't. You say this is what it's going to be. You get the shit. I could do that for you for 20 years and never get a tip.
Yeah.
But, some new business comes around who has one of those square readers, flips it around, and it's like, because they have the option now.
It's going to ask a couple questions.
Yeah, you just you can just swipe away. It's like, yeah, that's a social pressure. I feel like overall we've just put on ourselves that, I don't know. There's definitely a better way around it, in my opinion. I do understand the other arguments of being able to float smaller mom and pops businesses by being able to be more favorable within the tax code. I get all that. My point is, hey, we should fucking rewrite the tax code to be more favorable to mom and pops businesses so that employers have better, incentives, so that we don't have to like socially guilt people into making sure your employees can eat that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have to go all the way down, but
Yeah.
it's always
Or like when I go to Subway, like they ask for a tip now at Subway, and it's like,
do they?
Yes, and it's like, you guys, this.
That's the job. That's
it
what I'm
feels
paying
like
for.
I mean, it's fast food. It's like a glorified McDonald's.
That's in the price of what it is. You're paying for the sandwich. You're saying this is the amount for the thing that I'm getting. How could I otherwise get it if you didn't make it? Do I have to like, if you weren't here making it as a restaurant, then you don't have a product. Your product includes you making that thing. So if there's no one behind, there's no sandwich artist, I think is what they're called. If there's no sandwich artist behind the thing, there's no sandwich. So the thing you're selling on the board, the price that is with it, includes the making of that thing. That's like me also wanting to tip an assembly worker making, the left side door on a Ford Ranger. Like, no, that's his wage is included in the manufacturing of the product that is being sold.
Yeah.
And there's no extra service being performed here.
Yeah.
But again,
I want people to make enough money.
I do too. Yeah. Pay that person
I just
a
want to
living
know
wage.
exactly how much I have to pay you.
Pay that person a living wage and then ask the government for more incentives for employers. Don't ask the public. That's my stance basically. But
yeah, it's funny when we were in the little interim there.
Sorry, I'm getting a little hot. I don't know if I was screaming into the mic there. I might have to adjust that a little bit. Sorry, was I talking too loud? I get a little heated when I talk about that shit.
No, I think you were fine. But we were Oliver's watching The Simpsons right now, and when we went up to, calm Simon and get the sandwich and all that, it was an episode where they're talking about like how there's just not like there's not jobs like Homer's job available anymore.
Yeah, Oliver's. This is my favorite part, I think, in the whole series, and it was a musical montage of just the shrinking middle class essentially.
Yeah, but it was funny because I took Oliver. We have our first dance happening, and originally Ollie was not going to be able to go because we're going to be in Indiana, but now Oliver can go, and it's this Friday. So I took Ollie today to get an outfit, and I haven't gone to Old Navy in forever. I don't know why. It's just like it's not in the mall. It's like separate. In like a strip by the mall, and we just never go over there. But I was like, I'm gonna go Old Navy because I remember my sister telling me that they had some like really great stuff recently. So we'll pop in there. I figured maybe it would be a little cheaper because Ollie right now, like when we go to the mall, Ollie's looking in like Vans or like fucking Zoomies, and it's like $100 for a pair of fucking pants. Like, dude, no. So I'm like, maybe I could get like just a cheaper outfit because I don't know how often Ollie will wear whatever they want to choose for the dance. So we go, and like there were a ton of signs for like 50% off or 30% off of this or whatever. And Ollie ended up getting a pair of pants and maybe like 3 shirts and a flannel and a pair of shoes. But my total was still like $200. I'm like, damn, dude, like fucking sucks. And then we went to Barnes & Noble because Ollie's been wanting to read this new anime series because they don't want to finish My Hero Academia until the next season of My Hero Academia comes out, and then Ollie will finish the rest of the books.
Right.
But wanted to get a different one, and so we go, and Ollie was like, oh, I want to try this one. And so we got the first 2 books of that because Ollie flies through those anime books. Like the... And then there was this other book that Ollie thought sounded really good. And the sign said, buy one, get one half off. And it was like, buy one of these books, get half off of like another book in the store. So then I found a book and we go up and we pay for them. And I don't remember how much it was. Maybe fucking, I don't know, $60, something like that. We got to the car and I'm like, they did not give me 50% off of my book, but it wasn't worth going back in for because that is like my worst nightmare. And it was really busy and there was one person in there. But anyway, I say all that to say we were driving home and Oliver literally commented on how expensive everything was. It was like, how am I going to afford anything? Because all he recognizes that like it is worse for us now than it was for us when we were kids and we wanted to go buy stuff with our allowance or whatever. And now it's like, Ollie literally is looking at it like, how expensive are things going to be when I'm an adult?
Buddy.
And it's like, one, devastating that that's even in Ollie's mind.
Yeah.
And like, partly we are to blame for that because I think we do try to stress to Oliver how expensive things are, but we don't do it on an aspect of like, hey, we're fucking worried that we can't pay our bills because we're not.
It's just like it's the opposite of like, I don't want you to not understand that you have a PS5.
Well, Oliver doesn't have their own PS5.
No.
Like,
the family does. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But like as a kid, you have access to a PS5.
Yeah.
You have access to things that like...
Ollie got one of the MetaQuest things for
Yeah, I need you
Christmas.
to also understand that, you're doing all right. This is pretty cool. I think the type of life that you're able to live every day, but also just keep perspective. I think is the word I was looking for. Keep perspective.
Well, I mean, I have
it's
been
okay to have nice things and enjoy them, but it's not okay to just make that your norm, and then everything below that is somehow, I don't know, shit and a disappointment. I don't want to set our kid up for extreme disappointment and failure more than anything.
Well, and also like we've been telling Oliver a lot, like about leaving all the lights on in their room or like getting the door shut all the way. Like Ollie gets so excited to come in and get to doing whatever they want to do that they'll like literally just not make sure the door latches. So then the door, and I'm like, hey, it is -degrees outside. Heater's going. Can we shut the door? Like, can you just make sure you do that? And I do stress in that it's like, hey, the electric bill's real fucking high right now. So like, let's do what we can to not make that worse. But I did think it was just like a bummer. And I think Ollie, even watching that Simpsons episode, it's like, yeah, it's a cartoony way to like also teach Oliver a bit about what it's like to like be a fucking adult and pay for shit and have jobs right now. But it is this thing of like, but what a fucking bummer that it genuinely is on Ollie's mind of like, what the fuck can I do?
Yeah. Well, I think we just need to obviously be paying attention in the right ways, because I think I mentioned this a handful of episodes ago, but that was when I started stressing. This is probably around Oliver's age of like, oh, someday I need to provide for myself.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to have a job, and what does that look like? And like, does that mean call it? You know, that definitely kicked in Ollie's age, maybe even a little before that. But that is why I do stress to Oliver when anything comes up like that. I said it tonight. Yeah, that's why I am going to be on you more moving forward about finding something you enjoy and dedicating yourself to that. So if you're into writing, I want to see you throwing yourself into learning more about your favorite authors, reading the books you like. When you are just reading and like diving into that, that's great. That's your 10,000 hours in my opinion. If you find something you enjoy, go for it and be good at it. And in my opinion, and I know we've expressed this a lot with all of our kids, I feel like these early years are going to be figuring out what those things are, but then eventually, soon, it's going to be, okay, well, let's take some of those and let's start molding those into something. That way, by the time you hit the age of like, all right, now I'm going to go out into this world, you're not on square one.
Yeah. You
can at least be on square 10 or 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I want to make sure that especially with Oliver, hitting double digits over these next, 3 to 5 years, I want to make sure we explore and hone in on some disciplines of some kind, whether that's writing or a physical sport or skill or music of some kind, whatever it is. I don't want to be the pushy parent that's like, no, I was all-state fucking champ and you're going to be track all-state champ too. I'm not going to be that dad. I said this before we had kids. I don't care what it is. I just want to make sure that our kid has the best they can be at it. So if it's chess, I want to be going to a chess competition where I know in the room I'm confident that I can stand up and, you're going to win a medal and we can cheer for you, and you've put yourself into you've put yourself into a mindset of saying like, yeah, whatever it is, I'm going to be the best at what this is.
Yeah.
And really enjoy what I do. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
What that's going to be, but right now it does appear to be, writing and reading, listening to audiobooks, maybe like world building, something in that space.
Yeah.
Creative space.
Yeah.
For Oliver.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we wrap up, I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about the way that it kind of feels like the show, like the last month or so, it feels like we've kind of shifted out of what we were kind of originally starting the show for. I think that, I mean, really, if I'm being honest, it's probably been the last like 6 weeks or so. It feels like we got in this place again, like kind of started when it started like mid-November-ish, where it felt like you were really stressed at work. There was a lot going on with us, like personally. And then we moved into the holidays, and we didn't want to we realized that the holidays can be kind of a hard time for people. And so we didn't want to exacerbate that, so we like strayed away from reading stories or really sharing stuff that was that were like heavy moments for us, because we just were trying to like have like a cheerier holiday spirit. And then it feels like since then we've just kind of been like trying to catch our breath. But we do recognize that like we haven't been quite as present as we were in the beginning, and we don't want that to continue anymore. So first off, I absolutely want to like apologize for the part that I've played in that. When we first started, I was super involved in the groups, and I was super on top of the emails, and I was just like really, really, really on it. And then it felt like things just started to get kind of heavy, and I'm trying to figure out how to like have my place in that, but also feeling like a little bit of that, I don't know if it's like imposter syndrome, but it was like, I would have these moments, even though people would be like sending me messages and they were so sweet. It was like, I had this moment of like, it doesn't matter if I like jump into this conversation or not, like my voice in this doesn't matter, or my opinion in this doesn't hold weight. And so I feel like I kind of backed off from a lot of stuff. And that doesn't feel good. And I don't want to do that. I don't want people to feel like I'm not seeing the things that are being posted in the Facebook group, or that I'm not getting back to people as quickly in like messages or the emails or anything like that. So Logan and I had come up with a handful of things that we're going to kind of like definitely take some time over the staycation period and really like dive into, okay, let's like make a schedule. Let's come up with these ideas so that we can get people in the group to be really engaged and feel like they have voices in this too, because this, we did this for us to have time to sit down and talk to each other, but it very quickly became a thing where we have, like a very tight core base of listeners that have really just continued to support us through. And we don't want people to feel like your voices don't matter, because they do. So I am going to get back on top of the email stuff. Logan and I have a handful of ideas for like prompts that we want to put in the Facebook group and have people respond and share in there, so that we can get back into like the table talks, which I loved doing the lunch table talks. And we have not done one of those in forever. But then also even just like this isn't our full-time job, but it is something that needs to be treated more like a job than what we've been treating it. And that's on us. So we're really sorry if anybody has felt like we haven't been following up with the show in the way that we started it with. But moving forward, we are going to work on getting back on track with that. So if you're not in the Facebook group, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it, and would love to see you in there, because we are going to be having more posts in there from us that we would like for people to comment on. And then we also are talking about ways that we could like get people's voices and stories on the show, even in different formats than like us just reading your email. So if that is sending in like a voice memo to us, and then we play it so you can tell your story, and then we can react to it and talk about it on the show.
Well, I think that's where we like with the hotline too, that was an area that, well, we could pull from that if we wanted to. So I think it's also, what do you guys want to hear more of on this to make it feel more engaging? And it's not just you're listening to two farts talk about their week and like that's it.
Yeah.
We want to. I do like the engagement, and I like when there are stories that I can follow up on in the group and know that like this is just a hub that is like nice to be within and feels good.
Yeah.
that people, everyone in there, it is for lack of better terms, it's a safe space. It's not another fucking group that's full of fucking dumbass memes and triggering, savage, edgy bullshit. It's a true place where people, like, humans can come and be like, hey guys, like, it's wild out there. And everybody else can be like, I know, right? Just sit down, have a coffee, like,
right.
That's the kind of vibe I want. And I feel like everybody who's been participating in it so far has been running with that. And I just want more of that.
Yeah. So I think for us, like, we started and we really hit the ground running. We were super excited about it. And then it was just like, the holidays are just a hectic part of the year. And I think this was our first real taste of like trying to do something outside of Logan's regular job. But Logan's regular job was also incredibly hectic at the end of the year. And it just became this thing of like, we weren't figuring out what we were going to talk about until right before we got down here. So there was no time for me to like read through emails, or there was no time for us to put something on the Facebook group and try to get, answers on that, or even like the people that are part of the honors club. It was like y'all were getting questions, 72 hours out of like, hey, which day works best for you? And it's like, well, that's not fair. Like, we need to give people more time to respond and engage in that. So if you have been feeling any type of letdown, or like you were sold something and it's kind of fallen off the last little bit, we do super apologize for that, and recognize that it's not, we're not giving what we want to give to it. And we have lots of like fun ideas that we're going to really kind of hammer out over the staycation when Logan's got the time to like really have his head here. And I have help with the kids, so I can also put my head here. And yeah, because I don't know, there's just been this, I feel like in my being more removed from the group, which is so strange for me to even do that, because I literally see all of it.
I didn't even know you were actively like feeling like you couldn't participate.
Yeah, I don't know why it's like that. I got to this place of like, I'm reading it, I'm seeing it, I'll react to it maybe, but like I'll just think like, well, I don't have anything that I felt like I just started second guessing anything that I would say to it. Which I don't want to be. I want to feel like I can be like really authentic and really vulnerable. And even if the best I can give is my gosh, like, I am so fucking sorry that you're having a hard time, or that you had this big health scare or whatever. Yeah. But like, we see you, we care, because I do. I aggressively have always seen you guys, and I do care. And I feel like I stepped out of the space of showing that. And that makes me feel really bad. Because there was no reason outside of just feeling like I got overwhelmed with the change of going from not having anything to all of a sudden having people that do know me outside of being Logan Keith's wife as part of the Bad Magic team. And like, I don't know. I just, the kids are screaming, but I hear them. But yeah, I feel like I just kind of immediately got really overwhelmed. And then I started to just second guess whether or not I even had anything like important or worthwhile to contribute, which is that voice that I've always had in my head of like, what I have to say doesn't matter, or it's stupid, or whatever. And I don't want to continue to lean into that. So yeah, next episode, we will definitely be reading an email. And then when Logan has that staycation, which will be from the 18th to the 26th, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff in the group. So again, if you're not in there, please hop in. It's just the Broken Youth Club on Facebook. If you have an email that you would like to send in, I will be super on top of those, especially during that staycation time. And then after that, like once I can get all caught up at that point, then I'll be back in there regularly. to keep those cleared out. That is just mylife at brokennewthclub.com. If you have a story you want to tell over the phone, we have the phone number that Logan will have on the video. And yeah, I just want you guys to know we see you, we hear you, we care a lot. We're so happy that you're here. And just a big apology from me, specifically.
I think it's okay. I think a lot of people are gonna say, I don't know why you're apologizing. You don't.
I just feel it. I feel like I have been like removing myself from a space that I felt like all of a sudden I didn't actually really like. I don't want to say I didn't deserve to be in it, but it felt like I am not important in this, even though I am a fucking co-host of the show. But that's how it felt. It was like, I need to just like, I ultimately just started feeling like it doesn't matter. Like nobody fucking cares. Yeah. But I know that people care. So I just, but yeah, we care. We love you. We're so happy you're here. I'm so sorry. Okay, the kids are screaming. So, okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.